Today I'd like to show you the technique we use for grounding, for integration, and most importantly for dropping into the state of being. It's the Hara Line. That's a Japanese term, and it's a line, goes through the midline of our body, and there's various points on that line. Those of you who've been involved in martial arts have heard of the Tandien before. It's a point in martial arts, mid-belly, and it's sort of the center of the universe in martial arts. You move from that point. But there are other points on that line as well. So the Hara Line, very important reference point for being. This means that you can use it to ground, but also every time before you meditate, before you do energy work, anytime where you want to drop into that being state where you're doing some compassionate listening. This is a technique that will get you there immediately. Just takes a few seconds. So the Hara Line is, as I said, a line that goes through your body. It's actually sort of a dimension that we exist upon, where we literally exist as a line of energy. So along this line, there is the lower Tandien. And I'll show you in a minute where that's located, and we'll practice actually referencing the Hara Line. Around your heart area, just actually above your heart chakra, kind of at the bottom of your breastbone here, is the middle Tandien. And then at a point about 3 feet above your head is the upper Tandien. So this is actually the edge of your auric field, this upper point here, the upper Tandien. So we exist as this line of energy. The lower line, the lower Tandien, is primarily helpful for grounding. So it's also very good if you're feeling anxious or ungrounded. It's a great one to just do the lower aspect of the Hara Line. So this is used, this aspect of it is more important for grounding. So that line goes from the middle of your belly downward through your legs into the earth. That's the direction, downward. And then we connect the lower Tandien with the middle Tandien. And this section of the line here is concerned with integration. So integration of earthly energies and spiritual energies. Again, it's often in esoteric literature called the soul seat, just above your heart chakra, below your breastbone. So you're going upward connecting these two lines. It's really just a connect the dots exercise. So we're moving upwards, connecting the lower Tandien with the middle Tandien. And then the middle Tandien upward to the upward Tandien. And this is, not surprisingly, your spiritual connection. So when everything is aligned, you have access to all aspects of yourself. And again, it is a reference point for being. All right, I am going to show you how to align your Hara. So remember, that's that line going through the middle of your body. It's not on the surface, it's deep inside. So the first point on that line is the lower Tandien. So it's a few inches below your belly button and just in the middle of your belly. I want you to take a moment to sense in. Now you're just going to practice sensing. If you can't sense it, just imagine it. So you're going to sense or imagine this deep ball. It's about this size, you know, the size of maybe a 50-cent piece or a large marble in the middle of your abdomen. So you sense in or imagine that it's there. It's kind of hard and dense. can be very hot. You may sense some of these qualities or not. And if not, just imagine that hard, dense ball in the middle of your abdominal area. Very powerful energy concentrated there. Then you imagine a line going straight down between your legs and into the earth. Now you can imagine it going through various layers of the earth, or even the floor, and then down to the earth. Whatever visualization works for you. I just take it down. I just intend for it to go down and eventually could end up in the middle of the earth. So as you begin to sense more, you'll notice that it may be off to the side, forward, aiming backwards. So as you develop your ability to sense, what you'll notice is you imagine one thing, but you're getting different information. So that means that you're actually bridging imagining to sensing. So if it's different than what you imagined, you must be sensing. You'll have layers and layers of that sensing experience where it's actually different from what you imagined it would be. So if you sense in one day and you notice your lower hara is off to the left, you know you're not particularly grounded. Remember, this lower hara line is about grounding. So I'm just sensing into it and dropping that plumb line, that hara line, down into the earth. All right, so keeping your hand here, I want you to put your hand on your middle dantian. Again, it's just below the clavicle. It's actually, if you know where the heart chakra is, a few inches above that. It's a little larger and more diffuse than the lower dantian, but it is very discernible. So once again, you're going to imagine connecting the lower dantian up to the middle dantian. And over time, you may sense or notice that they're not in alignment. So this again is about integration. So mine's a little off. There we go. I am aligned. All right. And now, keeping your hands in these two places, imagine that line extending up from your middle dantian up through the middle of your body, through the crown of your head, the very top of your head, and up to a point 2 or 3 feet above your head. And again, once you cross that bridge into sensing, you might feel that click in. And sometimes it's a little tricky to get the upper part aligned. The top of the line can be a little wiggly. Other things happen. But for the most part, starting out, you're just going to imagine this line going upwards from the middle dantian to the upper dantian, 2 to 3 feet above your head. So I want you to practice this with your hands in place, but obviously you're going to drop that. And as you do all the exercises that you're going to do after this, the first thing you do is going to be align your hara, because that is the reference point for being. It's where we can sense energy.